Well, I want to give you a little bit of an orientation as we move into Nadine Gordimer's July's People. It would be smart to start with this short introductory interview that I'll put on the homepage. It's only about 4.5 minutes long and kind of gives you the background, a little bit of how Nadine Gordimer writes, how she also became really one of the voices for Black South Africans. She was a very influential, and for her time, and we would be talking about the 60s, 70s, and 80s when she was a younger woman, she was very, very influential in fighting against apartheid in South Africa. Apartheid refers to a regime where the minority white population pretty much controlled all of the wealth in South Africa and all of the advantages, education, good housing areas, and they kept the black people kind of under their heel for decades and decades. And this system ended in the early 90s with the election of Nelson Mandela to lead the country, but it was getting very explosive in the last years. So July's People comes in about 1981, and I think it's the book for which she kind of pushed her into winning the Nobel Prize for Literature, as it says here in 1991. And what July's People does is create a fictional world where instead of a political solution in South Africa where whites and blacks figure out some way to live together, instead there's a violent uprising where virtually all the white people are chased out of South Africa. And that's what the fictional world this book recreates. And I guess one of the things I really want to keep in mind that even though this is written with the tremendous and volatile upheaval that led to the end of apartheid, a very violent era of protest, keep in mind that Nadine Gordimer has a really wonderful focus here, and that, as she says, her politics, she understands through what politics does to people. She says, I've come to understand politics through what politics does to people. And so what the book July's People is about, really, is about a white family forced during the time of upheaval to flee their home in Johannesburg, South Africa, or likely get murdered. And they are dependent upon their black servant, July, who basically protects them, takes them away from the violence of the city and brings him back to the village. And it's in this village setting that the book opens up. And what I want you to focus on with the first 39 pages, that is disc one. You see here I've got disc one up to page 39. I want you to focus on what their politics, if you will, what their roles, that is the roles given to white South Africans and the roles given to black South Africans, how the political life of that country has shaped the characters. And let me kind of show you what I mean. It's only 39 pages. It's written almost in a dreamlike stream of consciousness. There's a reflection of the political background of the different uprisings that have happened throughout South Africa, how the world changes, little simple things like the liquor store suddenly delivered wine, beer ordered weeks before, and it kind of means that you can't go out to the store. You get everything by delivery because it's not safe out on the streets. That's how politics has changed things for the white South Africans. I kind of walked through this. I have a lot of different reflections here. Obviously, the political situation, pages 19 or so, you see how it just has become extremely dangerous for white people to stay in Johannesburg area, in any of the cities. And again, it was a tinderbox. That is, this thing was waiting to blow up. And then you get funny things about what politics do to people. We're back in the village here on page 20, and one of the older women tries to say the word overseas, and she can't quite pronounce it. This black South African, and there's a backstory to that, is that overseas would be like an unusual planet beyond Mars. The poor people in South Africa never traveled. And so you get this sort of a class difference here, where the word overseas in the elderly black villagers' lips is a word that she barely knows how to say. That's how politics has shaped their lives. And so you kind of look at how they've been given a place in their society based on the color of their skin, and how different their lives are. And I think that's what I want you to look at. And here, it's kind of a beautiful page 29. It's beautiful and sad at the same time. She's discussing how what black people use in the villages to decorate their thatched huts. And you get the idea that for them, the way the political world was shaped, they had just the scraps of society, broken pieces of glass, mirrors, different things. That's what they could use for decorations. So it really kind of delineates the poverty, and at the same time, kind of a sad way, the resourcefulness of making something out of nothing, because that's what they had. So it really gets fascinating. I love this part on page 30, and this is what I'm going to ask you to do, to isolate passages that speak to you. There's a great scene, Maureen Hetherington. Now that's a beautiful British proper name for South Africa. And there's a picture from her childhood of Maureen and her black servant Pierre. And I think it's Lydia. And it's just a very telling picture. They're holding hands. They're at a street corner. And Lydia has all of Maureen's books and bags on top of her head, and Maureen is carrying nothing. And at first you think, okay, two friends going home, one's carrying the books and bags, but no, two girls about the same age, one of whom gets to go to school because she's white, and the other one doesn't because she's black. They're friends, but they have different roles. The black girl immediately assumes it's her role to carry the books and everything else for the white girl. So you have all of these things embedded in the image that show you of how politics has shaped these people. And what I mean by politics is the role they are given in society by the way society is arranged politically. In this case, the extreme privilege given to the white South Africans, and obviously the corresponding lack of status given to the black South Africans during the political arrangement of apartheid. So I want you to just keep an eye on for those things that really speak to the difference between the white and the black South Africans, and how their lives have been shaped by the roles the political organization of South African gave them. And then you get some kind of, I don't know, Nadine Gordimer likes gritty details, and sometimes she gets a little bit, she gets her hands dirty here. So you have how the kids are learning to clean themselves up after using the bathroom, and they're learning how to do it like the black kids do out in the village. And so there's a certain amount of untidiness here, and Maureen is trying to adjust to the new order. And so you've got these really cool details, and on the one hand you're thinking, I don't want to really hear about filthy toilet paper blowing in the wind before it gets eaten up by a pig. But on the other hand, you understand that for the upper class South Africans, uh, they are so far removed from anything resembling filth and sewage. But for the black South Africans, where they live in the villages with no plumbing and, presumably not enough money to waste on toilet paper, you get, I don't know, a certain closeness to that side of life, to the dirty, to the daily dirt of life that the wealthier white people in South Africa have managed to flush down their clean porcelain toilets. So it's really kind of a fascinating distinction there, and I really enjoy that. And so anyway, that's what I want you to do, is just take some time, listen to it again if you can, on the first disc, which goes to page 39, and highlight some scenes that really speak to you, or highlight at least a scene that really speaks to you about how the political life of South Africa, that is the segregated life, or at this time, 1981, where the white people have all the privilege and the black people have all the poverty. I want you to talk about how that political organization has shaped people's lives. I hope this gives you a good sense on how to start this, okay?